Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, the 7th of January, 2020. First meeting of the Village of North Hudson Regular Board of Trustees is called to order at 7 o'clock. A short vacation. Father, I pray that we as a nation become people of prayer, both acknowledging that our blessings come only from you and praying for your will to be done in our country. And Lord, breaking news is we ask you to please watch over our military who is presently under attack over in the Middle East, and we ask for your protection, strength, and blessings on our soldiers who are there to protect our freedoms. Roll call.
Trustees Head.
Here.
Leaf.
Here.
Matz. Nelson.
Here.
Pike.
Here.
President Wecken.
Here.
Trustee Zeiss.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, item 2, review of and approve minutes from the regular board meeting of 3 December 2019.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item 3, comments from the floor is an opportunity for the residents to make board aware of topic, issues, opportunities either on or not on today's agenda. And we don't have anybody in the audience to do that, so we'll go on to item 4. Proclamation declaring January 26th through February 1st as North Hudson School Choice Week. Approval requested. Thank you.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And just so people are aware, whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now, therefore, I do hereby recognize January 26th through February 1st as the North Hudson School Choice Week, and I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens. Okay, and all in favor of the declaration or proclamation, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Thank you. Next. Election contingency plan approval requested.
Stan, can I move to approve the Village of North Hudson election contingency plan?
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussions? Melissa, you want to give any background, please?
Yes, this is something that every municipality should have. It's basically an emergency plan if something should happen on election day. We haven't had one in place before. And we did receive a $600 grant from the Wisconsin Election Commission, and part of that grant required us to have this filed. So I need to file it with them by the end of January, so it was a requirement of that in order to get the money, so.
Okay. We did motion. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of the contingency plan, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item 6. 2020 mobile home park license, Pamela Zappa, discussion approval requested. Is there a motion?
Stan, can I move to approve the trailer permit application by Pamela Zappa?
Thank you, Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there discussion?
Reason why she was late?
She said she didn't get her mail for a while. So I believe she lives out in the country. So I don't know if her mail wasn't delivered because of the snow or what was going on, but she didn't see it until later. When she got it, she did file it right away. However, I do, like I said, send the application with her permit. The beginning of this year, she'll get the application for next year. Reminded her it's a yearly thing. So that was what the reasoning. She didn't get the second notice that I had sent. So
So it looked like there were some things that had to be corrected. Is that, do you feel like that's been resolved?
So they did apply today for the building permit, so that is in process for the stairs and the guardrails. There was some back and forth if they needed one. They do need one by state building code. They need a building permit for that. So they did apply for that. The shed, when Brian goes out to look at the stairs, he's gonna inspect the shed. It's been there, I guess, for over 13-plus years. It's not new, so he's gonna inspect that
I had my 21st birthday party there.
at that
That's
shed.
15,
Literally.
15.
Okay.
Literally.
That's 15.
Okay, so it has been there a while. So he will just review that.
Hey, that's a nice timestamp.
I don't know if I, anyway. And then as far as
The chief will
the,
talk to you later.
I didn't do anything about that. It's 21.
and then as far as the shipping container, I don't believe those are allowed. It's something that's been there, however, for about, I think, a year and a half. So that's something they're moving in August, but once it gets warmer out and their land is ready where they're moving to, they will be moving it. So they just requested if they can continue to leave it there until they're able to move it. So,
He gave me a call, and right now it's kind of frozen in,
Right.
so he will move it in the spring as soon as he can.
Do we have to make a contingent on these things happen? I mean, I don't know what happens
This
if,
permit doesn't have anything to do with the other.
all right.
well, actually, you could make a contingent on that. Yep, it does, because she technically,
Brian Wirt said it doesn't.
we
Just so you
can
know.
make it contingent on it, I believe, can't we? Paul, can we do that?
Yeah, if she's in non-compliance.
Right.
You can make it contingent on her becoming compliant.
Well,
We can
Because
just-
she kind of.
she's not the compliant part of it.
This
She's
guy
the-
owns 6 of those, almost all the trailers but one in that park.
No,
That's what he told me today.
no. Roger owns one, another guy owns one, Pam owns the other 4.
He lied to me.
And unless ownership has changed, but that's the way it's been because I have to do work with the trailers, each of the trailers, and the assessor goes out and assesses each trailer every year. So I can calculate the monthly costs at each trailer. So there's a lot that goes into that. So I know who owns which ones. I haven't gotten it yet for January, so unless something's changed since January. It doesn't matter if they own it or not. She is the permit holder for the trailer park. If the permit doesn't get renewed, they all have to leave. So it doesn't matter if they own it, she's the permit holder. So I feel you can, if Paul agrees, you can make the permit contingent on that, because she technically oversees them and is responsible for them.
Why don't we just wait till the next one that comes up and we'll check to see if these are gone by then and let her know that if they're not, we won't redo her for next year.
Because these are, I mean, the guy's stairs fell apart. to
Well,
a-
right, they all seem like things that
Yeah.
have been ongoing for many years, and it's finally maybe being addressed, and we have a frozen storage unit.
Right.
So there's not much you can do about that now.
So it was brought up, I remember last year when the board approved this, was, hey, a former trustee mentioned, hey, the board approves this every year, but is anybody really paying attention to it? How do we know is anybody reviewing it? And it's like, yeah, that's a good point. So I had Brian drive by and review it this year, so because you guys are approving it, the board's approving it. So that's why this kind of came to light this year, because I had him, and I'll have him do that each year from now on, so.
I think it's good practice.
It is.
So it's up to the board what they want to do, but yes, they did apply for the building permit today. I confirmed that with Brian for the stairs and the guardrail. And if they need one in the future for the shed, I don't think they will, then they'll apply for one as that too.
Yeah, that's not the only shed in that park. But, okay, any further discussion?
So it's just based on the calendar year, right, Melissa?
Yes,
Thank you.
yep.
So the motion has been made and seconded. Is there any amendments or corrections to the motion that you'd like to see or hear? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the mobile home park license for Pamela Zappa, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
I do think we should say something to him about if this comes back next year. We're not gonna, I mean, they have a year to fix it.
That could be Brian, couldn't it?
Well, one thing to do is have Brian go out there in September.
Right,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
you can still do something.
You
Right.
can send him a letter saying they're coming up for renewal. You gotta do A, B, C, or D, or
Yep.
don't bother. applying.
Right. Very good idea.
Yes, I'll set a review to contact Brian and make sure he follows up on that.
And could you have, make a an earlier deadline for her too? I mean, I know you're sending it out in November, but it's like, it was so late this time.
You said September, didn't you?
I know, but I guess,
Well, and I did it because I hadn't gotten it back.
Right.
Like I said, she gets the application for the next year. She'll get it this month.
Okay.
For 2021. I just had
then you can't. do
not
anything
gotten
now
it, so
about
that's why I followed up with her
Got it.
again. But she does get it, and she usually,
Yeah, this is the
she
first
has
time
it
in 30
in.
years.
Yeah, usually she has it in earlier.
All right.
Yep.
New business from the board or staff, president's comments. I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year. And, again, I'd like to hope that everybody will, pray for our soldiers and our military that are in a conflict now, and, we hope for their safety. Melissa?
Christmas tree pickup started yesterday, and it will continue the next 2 Mondays, January 13th and January 20th. And you can look on the website under news and events, and it talks about, make sure there's not any decorations, lights, or anything like that on there if you want more information. And also, a total of 4 candidates, 3 of them incumbents, filed paperwork for the 3 village trustee positions for the spring election, which will happen on April 7th of 2020.
Thank you. Item 8 is Plan Commission did not meet. Item 9, Personnel and Safety, we met earlier today, and we have claims approval requested.
Stan, can I move to approve the December 2019 non-recurring claims of $46,020.26 and January 2020 non-recurring claims of $2,450.76?
Thank you, Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. Kathy?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Item B is fire contract approval requested. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the fire contract for 2020 with the city of
Thank you,
Hudson.
Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. Chief Scott St. Martin is here. If we have any questions or comments, he would be happy to answer anything for anyone.
So,
You gotta get them up there.
Before we start, there's just some type stuff in here that we should get cleaned up.
Okay, well,
No.
that's, Paul, you're on first. Scott, respond.
you got a copy up there?
Yeah, is it
Typo stuff. you
is
said.
it the typos we talked about late this afternoon,
It
Melissa?
could be, yeah. Just getting the titles right.
Yeah.
Some of the references, the first party, second party should be flipped right above the signature lines. You could take that out. We don't have any exhibits to look at.
We have
So-
one.
We did get Exhibit A, I did get
Yeah.
that
We
one.
did get that one, okay.
So, Honorable President and village trustees, thanks for having me here. But some of this stuff I explained a little bit earlier in finance. This is kind of a new year. We have a new finance director, new city administrator, and this
New
is the
clerk.
first year I've been clerk, and this is gonna get a new clerk. This is the first year I've actually been involved in the contract. So we did send it out, but late this afternoon, we just get that we were missing those, and so we were able to get one, but the other exhibit we will forward. And actually, if we can you can mark up what you see as contract issues, we can bring that back. I talked a little bit to Melissa about it, and we changed, I think, a couple things on the end.
Yep,
But
there was
we'll
one
make
more
sure
thing,
we can
yeah.
get that cleaned up, and if you let us know, we'll bring it back and make sure that it's approved by our, administrator and that, and they review it, but I don't think there
Yep,
should be any
yep.
issues.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything major. It's cleanup stuff. As long as the board, the big thing is it went from 5 years to 20 years, so.
Yeah, and I think, I'm sure President Watkins talked about that. We've talked about this for a long time, many years, and leading up to this, and the new city administrator, Mayor O'Connor, along with our partners, looked at a way to what's a good way to make this happen. Stan kept saying one thing: we don't want to pay anything. That was pretty simple. But no, and we looked at it, we respected it. And as the city, as we sat down and we tried to figure out what, I guess let's call it an olive branch, what could we do? And thankful the mayor and the council and our new city administrator thought, they'll pay for the whole thing. That being said, we would like our partners to be on board for the duration of that bond, which is 20 years. So the city is going to fulfill the bond and all the FF&E and everything with the station. On the other hand, we would like to continue the same percentages for heat and electric, but also that you are around for that duration. So that's where we got a little bit creative with this. It's a 20-year contract, but it's kind of like a rescinding, so 2019, then it rolls back to the 5-year at 5 years. So, and it was a lot of, I guess, negotiating and talk, but I think we've been happy with our partnership. We want you to be partners. We don't want to be the only option. We want to be the fire department because you want us to be your fire department, and that's the way we look moving forward. So that's kind of where this came, but, Stan's been in lots and lots and lots of meetings, and we've talked about this, and I think it's a win-win for everybody, and I appreciate, like I say, Mayor O'Connor and the council also partaking in this and being involved.
Yeah, no, I want to express our happiness with the department and the service that we have got. I didn't say we don't want to pay anything. That's kind of a misquote, I mean, like, we can only afford to pay for so much, is what's going on. And I very much appreciate the Hudson City Council and your work that you've done, because we have been through so many meetings on this, and I've been up to the facility when it still had dirt floors and stuff like that. I don't know where they're at now, but it's going to be an unbelievably great place for you to even recruit new firefighters, I'm sure, because you're going to have the training facilities and everything you got there. And also, I'd like to say that Scott has done an outstanding job working with the contractors and keeping the budget, or keeping the costs of this project in check. I mean, it's just, what you've done has been amazing, and I've just, I've been very impressed. And I just like to say that, and I'm looking forward to when we can go up and see the new facility, and and I hope that everything keeps going forward as we are.
All right, thank you.
So what is
One
the?
question, do
oh,
you have
I
any
get to-
concerns about possibly the response time moving farther away from North Hudson?
We've talked about it. In fact, actually today I talked a little bit with the St. Joe chief, but it's one of those things that we really won't know. We are a little farther away, but until we start getting our turnout time from people there, we won't really know. So is it farther away? Yes. Will we get it staffed sooner? We don't know. And that's one of those things, and we're gonna look at, in fact, I've talked to the chief today, we're definitely during road construction season, Stan and I have been talking about this for a couple of years, we're gonna have some type of a truck up here in 2021, one way or the other, what it's gonna be. We can address that. It's a little further away. During this, we had all our GIS studies. We still fall within the time limits in that. It's just one of those things, it's a little farther away, but getting here, we'll see,
And I was wondering about timeline for the new building, new station.
So substantial completion on their end is March 1st, but we're behind on the fact that they couldn't pour concrete. So we're looking at hopefully officing up there starting in about April, and then actually operating out of there in June and turning our old building over probably sometime in June. So that's when we're looking at the timeline. If everything goes right, and obviously we know the weather and construction stuff with the outside is, but inside they're sheet rocking right now, and it looks like they're gonna make that probably March 1st date of, then start punch list stuff, and hopefully us getting there in April.
Great. Thank you.
I'm kind of concerned about the 20 years. I'm surprised about contracting that far out after what we went through with EMS. And the 5-year renewal thing, that would be fine, but we're stuck till 2035. We're really putting this on a lot of other people down the road because we won't be here.
Well, I don't know.
At least I don't intend to
I
be.
might still be around then, I'm not sure. But,
So that's just a concern.
but again, it was, with the it's part of when we were with Joint Fire, part of the issue is that, hey, they're willing to take over this huge, cost and just keep charging us, the equivalent percentages that we've had. They're buying this building, or building this, thing, and what they want is just make sure that our commitment is to say, hey, we're with you. You'll be able to afford, for 20 years that we're gonna support and pay our share. And,
That
I
doesn't have,
think,
so that doesn't have any, so these costs that are in here are not related to the building at all?
The-
What are they related to?
So the only, and kind of about the 20 budget is there are assumptions involved because we haven't been paying heat and electric, so we've made some assumptions there. So after that, it'll be more concrete after 1 year, probably after a year and a half. What you're seeing is because we're going from a smaller building to a big building, so just costs in general are more. And you're gonna pay your percentages as you have in the past for our existing building, but because we're going almost 2.5 times the size, maintenance, electric, everything else is gonna be a little bit, I shouldn't say maintenance, but it's gonna be more. So that's where you're seeing some of those, the costs go up. Also, part of it is that the new trucks are rolled into that too. If you do look at, though, because of our formula of how we figure our contracts with the distribution and the run volume, if you look at the total percentages, although 13 is high, I know that, but you're the lowest, you're, almost 4.3% lower than what the city's percentage is going up. If I was to guess, I'm gonna say our city run volume is continue to rise because of growth, and you're probably gonna stay flat. So over time, if these numbers stay true and our valuation, which goes up in the city, our run numbers, which goes up, and yours is probably not gonna see that big rise, you'll continue to see your rates stay more flat than the cities. So that's part of it. You are signed up for 20 years, but if you look at the projections and the growth and the run volume, there will be adjustments along the way, and I think if history has anything to say about it, the city's gonna be the one that's gonna be picking up more of that increase than the village will.
So maybe just in exchange for the 20 years, then the village isn't going to participate in the capital costs for that building.
No, any of the capital costs, so the city is, all the FF&E and everything, the city is paying for. So maintenance going forward, as far as like heat, electric, you will be paying your percentages based on the contract.
So as far as run rates go, we've recently learned that our EMS services, who is farther away, has cut their time in half. So I'm not as concerned about that, because they've figured out how to do it, and I'm sure these guys will too. But, yeah, this is just the whole 20-year thing, that's just a concern.
well, right now, I think, just to be fair, I mean, Lakeview has done an outstanding job cutting response times, but they're running out of both barns. They're running out of downtown and up off of the hill, right?
Well, they're running just downtown. They will be running out, I think, beginning in February up on the hill. So
Okay.
they're gonna be actually across the highway from
Highway,
us,
right.
freeway from us, so yeah.
Yeah, they're right by the hospital and stuff, so they'll come out of there. So it'd be
Yeah.
it's gonna be very similar. You just get on the freeway, come to Second
Yeah.
Street and get them out of the way.
Any chance you'd build something out in North Hudson for a truck,
Would be our
within the 20
responsibility.
years?
No, we're more than happy to look at bringing a truck up here if you build it.
Exactly, I was gonna
If
say.
we build it, you will come.
Build it, it'll come.
It's something we continually look at as chiefs in the valley of how do we create efficiencies with all of our communities. Unfortunately, we're all just a little bit farther apart, and but we do what we can and we do talk about it. So, and we're never opposed to listening, of doing something, and with St. Joe and everybody. So, if you have ideas, bring them forward, because we'll listen to anything. But we have open eyes on all of this. So we're fortunate enough at this point to be able to staff where it's an epidemic across the country where they just cannot staff. And, we're fortunate enough, and really, don't thank me, thank all the firefighters, because they're the ones giving up their time and leaving their jobs and doing it in the middle of the night. I'm getting paid to do this job, and they're doing it. So when you see them out there, thank them. They're the ones that we can keep the cost down, although they seem expensive. When you start adding FTEs, that's when expenses really go up. So as long as we can keep that model, the costs are gonna be able to stay, more reasonable.
Much appreciated. Anything else?
So since we're missing some pieces, is the intention for us to vote tonight, or do we want to have the changes made first?
Paul, you think we can, right?
Well, I think you can vote on, I'm talking about just, some technical things, some typo type things. I think you can vote and approve this conceptually, and I'll just make a few edits that isn't really gonna change the scope of the document.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then once
so
it's done,
The biggest one is what we're, the 50% and 50%, as far as it costs and stuff like that go for me, so. But, yeah, no, I'm good with that. You okay with
Yep,
that?
yeah, I just wanted to know what the plan was.
Yep, okay.
It's in the budget, like Melissa said, so.
Was that Tim?
It's in the budget, like
Right.
Melissa said.
Okay, so let's contract, Kathy?
Yes.
Lori? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Scott.
much. I
Have a
look forward to
safe
the
ride
new fire
home.
station up here.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're
It was planned.
working on it.
You planned it.
If anyone could get it
Maybe-
done, he's sitting
As
right
soon as
next to
Zappa
me.
moves out,
Maybe
we'll
I
put it
can
right.
get, maybe I can get Mark to donate his building and we'll just kind of raise it up so we can get
There you
fire
go.
truck in the car wash.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. And it has been a pleasure working with you. Okay, then. Fire contracts approved. Public Works Committee meeting
Nope.
recommendation.
Oh, back one.
What?
Security cameras.
Sorry, chief.
Police first.
Oh, do you have your new agenda I gave you?
Well, I thought I had.
It's true.
I wouldn't security cameras. Well, then I'm on the second page. All right, item C, new security cameras for security door upgrades for the village approval requested.
I move to authorize the upgrade and expansion of the door access and camera surveillance for the village hall in an amount not to exceed $17,000 with $4,132 from the general government and capital equipment assigned funds and the remainder from the use of available funds account.
Thank you, Kathy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion or comments or questions from the chief or anything? Hearing none, it's budgeted. Tim?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now we'll go on to Public Works, because I'm on the right agenda. And chair update. Brian?
Stan, we did meet. We have one item to bring forward, which is to recommend purchasing a 521G case wheel loader from Miller Bradford and Reesburg with price not to exceed $160,000 and funds to come from the use of available funds account.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kirk. Is there discussion? Crickets tonight. All right, it's a spending issue. Kathy?
Yes.
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 And yes.
For all the folks out there, this is definitely gonna help keep the streets a little clearer and with these heavy snows that we've been getting, or the ones that get packed down. Okay, item 11, Public Safety Committee, you guys did not meet?
We did not meet.
All right. Item 12, Public Welfare Committee, and I don't believe you guys met,
Nope.
but you did meet at Park Board.
Yep, we did meet, came over with some new ideas and stuff, but nothing to bring to the board yet.
All right, thank you. And so then,
Can I ask a question for Park Board?
sure.
Is there any movement on those funds that you guys are trying to get for?
Yep, we have the forms, we're just filling out some of them, trying to come up with, each one of the park board members have the form, so, once they get it to me, we're gonna fill it out, but yeah, it's moving.
So they're after funds to fix up, Brown?
Correct, we're looking for a grant to help us with the retaining wall and the steps.
Cool.
I think it's due in May.
Yeah, we had time.
May.
Okay. Any other discussions? Okay, then, item 14, do we have any updates to go into
Yes.
closed session? So, the board may convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent lowercase g, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the village of North Hudson, who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation regarding an ADA complaint filed against the village. And so we'll have a vote to go into closed
We
session.
need a,
Dan, can I motion to go into closed session?
Thank you,
Second.
Kirk. Is there a second?
second. Second.
I'll second it if I have to.
I did like 3 times. I sixthed it. I did it like 3 times.
No. Okay, and all in favor of closed session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Patrick, Chief,
Thank you, Chief.
Jess,